Welcome to the world united. Welcome to the world united.
So, Isabella and Neil, you want to unmute yourself? We'll just have a beautiful, rousing conversation. We're so extra lucky to have had that moment before those moments to already connect with each of you in such a beautiful way. So both of you, talked about this place of, with Neil, you talked about this capacity that love grows within the adversaries of life. And Isabella, you talked about how your core beliefs were shattered when you moved into a whole new experience that you were drawn into, but challenged all of who you are. How important do we see that within our family well-being right now? As our children are so much more able to become connected in a global consciousness and are moving into that enlightened global citizen, how important and how deeply do you see that experience of the adversaries and the shattering of all the core beliefs for our families?
Ladies first, I would assume. No.
Yes, for sure.
Well, I think that it's very important to teach how to respond, right, to different situations, because there will be always things that come up that are not the way I thought in my dream world. The world is going to unfold. So how can we actually have really simple tools for whole families that they could practice together? So there have been children that actually said to their parents, "Oh, Mom, I think you should do now a belly breath because this and this just happened." So we can actually point out to each other and learn with each other. Oh, okay. How can we overcome a difficult situation, or in families, temper tantrums or any sort of all kinds of things that happen within families. But how can we all together go through that experience and use our open heart and tools to get us there? Yeah.
Beautiful. Neil, do you have something you'd like to share on that?
The world is crazy right now because we have two personas. We have our online persona and we have our in-person persona. And I believe we need to learn to merge and meld that the person that we project outside in the world to our persona, our social media persona, needs to match our personal persona so that we're not so bipolar in, like, many people profess to be love and peace and all of that, and they post all of these things, but when you have coffee with them, they're not. So as a family, we need to teach our children, and we need to be cognizant of, we need to be wholesome and who we are in all aspects of our being, whether it's our social media presence or seeing Neil in real life. So my social media needs to be the same as my real in-person person. That if I'm going to say, oh, we should get together and hug, that when we get together, that I'm not like, well, okay, no, I don't really hug. It's like we need to be congruent. And so we need to teach our children. We need to teach our community, our whole community, that we need to be respectful of each other and lift each other up. That when we see people acting incongruent from a place of love and compassion, we just need to say, who am I seeing? How can I help you be the true you?
Thank you.
And as Isabella says, sometimes it's just taking a belly breath before you speak.
Yeah, allowing each of us to have that place of the tools and the skills. When I was growing up, I was taught of two very, very strong beliefs. First, that as a child, I could be seen, but I should not be heard. And the second, that if anything occurred that was out of the ordinary, I should not allow myself to have a reaction to it. And I hear this beautiful conversation with the two of you between teaching and allowing the parent not just to educate and dictate, but to receive from the child a greater awareness, and to allow the child to share those skills and back with the parents. So there's this back and forth going on in the well-being of our families. So I'm sure that both of you have seen this within the different work that you do, that when you allow a child to be who they are, it enhances a parent's ability to be who they are. Do either one of you want to speak to that?
There's always in a parent-child relationship, there is a hierarchy. And so ultimately somebody needs to make a final decision till the birth of age 18. So a parent needs to teach the child to learn to be able to respectfully offer it, and the parent needs to respectfully receive it. And when it's done from a place of respect and not anger, frustration, I need my way no matter what, it's beautiful. It can be done. I've had parents with their children in our workshops and angry at each other because there was work to be done as a collective. But at the very end, the love that they had for each other was deepened, and because they're working together and allowing each other to be heard, it deepens that relationship. So I've seen it time and time again.
Yeah, and I think also it's about communication, right? Not just verbal communication, but how, like the nonverbal that's going on, and everything that's just like how Neil said it about and that's why it's called the Real You Academy. How can we be real in ourselves all the time? Not just have something, oh, I'm in work, I'm like this, at home, I'm like this, with my friends, I'm like that. Why can't I just be that real me all the time and teach that? And like you said, respectfully, absolutely, be respectful to one another, and just, grow together and be willing to listen. I think that's also the ability to listen fully to somebody. I mean, it's because we are always on the go and always, just quickly, I'm gonna scroll here through my feed and I'm gonna do that. Just really listen, and being with somebody is like so amazing and makes all the difference, because then the child feels heard, for example, when the adult really listens and not just thinks, well, the child does not have anything to say, like you just shared, Lori, right? You can be seen but not heard. It's, yeah.
The ultimate lesson in love and in parenting is love. To love and honor the differences, to love and honor and respect your child. That yes, they may be having a full-scale tantrum, and that's their experience, and you may not like it, and you may not really appreciate the child right now, but it's their experience, and you need to then, from a place of love and respect, deal with it.
Yeah.
Wow. So beautiful. Each of you have come from a different perspective, and both of you have, academies or schools of teaching. And one thing I notice in the work that I do is when we start to ask, our youth, anyone, but truthfully, when we ask our youth to celebrate who they are, it's often difficult for them because they, identify who they are outside of themselves. And I have had experiences where, they will go, wait, hold on, and ask a friend to say what's unique and beautiful about me. So, as you both do this work and you talk about being able to fully be who you are, the real you, in all situations of your life, what is the biggest challenge that you find young people have, like our children and our youth have, in coming to that place of celebrating themselves?
Well, I definitely see that when we give the child a say in their education, or a part, and control is not the right word, but that they want to participate, that they're excited to, then they also come more into themselves, because then they get curious, and then they really, they partake in it. And then it's easier for them to also reflect back to them and see, oh yeah, I did this well. And I don't just have to brush it down and say, oh no, my friend did it. So to really, and that's why, again, the peer-to-peer approach, give them a part in asking them, what do you think would make it better? Really keeping them in a place of, oh, I can learn and I can teach another child, and then that child can teach another, and so forth. I actually, he's actually the more of the mind. He wrote a book called, and now I forgot his name, but the book is called Outwitting the Devil. And it talks about our thoughts, the devil, and he brought it into, he wrote it in the 1930s, and he back then already spoke about education and how it would be so much more useful, and how we would create forward-thinking leaders if children would learn from another and really take control of their own learning. So that's my few cents.
Beautiful.
I would go with dreams. Allow the child to dream. Encourage them to dream. Shoot for the stars. Don't shoot any dream down. And be pragmatic, that you can dream and hope, but all your aspirations may not come to fruition. But don't stop dreaming from that. Keep reaching, keep striving. Dream, 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 dream.
And never stop, even as an adult.
Absolutely. And when children are allowed, in my view, when they're allowed at a young age to dream, it's easier to continue. But when your dreams are quashed early on in your growth and development, it's harder. And well, it's good for my coaching business. The adults have their dreams are quashed in that, because it gives me a form of income, because I can help them start to dream. But dream and encourage your kids. Ask them questions. Ask them what they want to be, what they want to do. What's the crazy things? Who is this? How is this? What would you want to do? How is it? Can we eat this? Fulfill their plate and platter with experiences. It doesn't have to be expensive experiences, but let them experience life. Don't overstimulate them and have them in every sport, every whatever, but allow them choices.
Beautiful. Neil, you talked about, I loved the word that you use when you talk about the adversaries in life. And, I understand that to be not just the people, but the experiences that create that, that banging up against sensation. As you work with the different generations within our world, are you noticing a difference in the type of adversaries that, say, someone in my generation or my mother's generation, compared to what our youth are experiencing? What type of generational differences are you seeing in those adversaries with the change in our global consciousness? Yeah, for sure.
Cyberbullying. If there was a bully in my school, he saw me every day and he beat the crap out of me, or I beat the crap out of him. In today's world, we've got a million people cyberbullying, and we have the physical bullying. So we're getting at it. It's crazy. People now, Instagram followers, they're taking pictures and designing so that they can get more likes. It's not all, but there is a great number of people that are craving the attention because they can't get it in the physical world. They're craving it electronically, and they're putting their self-worth in an electronic medium that is truly heartless.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Isabella.
Through my research, I mean, I have found what Neil just said, the cyberbullying. That, I mean, even when I went to school, we didn't have phones then yet, but it never stops. And there have been children as young as 9 who committed suicide because of it. And I get goosebumps all over because I can't even imagine. That is such, and there have been studies out now that show if you teach children like just simple tools and they practice this on a regular basis, then it's kind of like riding a bike, right? You can watch a video, you can read a manual, you can watch somebody right in front of you, somebody can tell you about it. But unless you actually practice it and have the experience of it, you would fall over because you have no balance. And to really teach children from an early age on, okay, if I do this and I can bring myself back, and if the bully says this, I know it's not about me and it's about the insecurities of the bully, right? But it's like this experience, and to really have that exposed on a regular basis and practice simple and easy stuff, I think can make all the difference. Yeah.
It's such a different world, right? You know, when I was growing up, my parents didn't have to know how to teach me how to interact in such a way. I learned how to interact in our family gatherings and our community events. And, you know, now there's this whole new opportunity for our families to create well-being through this bigger technology space into our global connection, and allowing for that space of moving away from the bullying and the harm that can happen, and, you know, really giving families the opportunity to, oh, this can be an expansive and enhancing way of being.
And the greatest tool as we as parents, as aunts, uncles, community members, is we can share, in my view, is teach people self-love. To love themselves no matter what the poop is coming down on them. I would have used a different word in a real live workshop, but I'm wanting to be family friendly here.
Poop is a very family friendly word.
And when we can learn to love ourselves in spite of the stuff, the adversaries of life, that to me is one of the greatest spiritual lessons that we're ever going to learn. And it comes from Isabella's work too. It's your friends. You need to bring in your peers in your community, and to teach and share within our communities, to love each other and to be willing to stand shoulder to shoulder with your friend. Stand there. If your friend is getting beat up, take the beating with them.
Yeah, it's like what you said, self-love, right? It's something so foreign that I was never taught. And to kind of then, because, you know, you look in the mirror and this is my belly is too big and this is that and my hair is getting gray or whatever. but to, well, you're like kind of George Clooney, like I would say. But to really, to just accept who we are. And I think if we also can, and I see that you do that in your work, Neil, to really have parents and adults love themselves more, then they can give them also more to their children, right? And it's definitely, yeah, it's an interesting journey.
So,
Absolutely.
you know, both of you have talked about how your journeys of belief and awareness took you from the experiences of who you were into this deeper awareness of love and care and consciousness. Can you share with us one of the beliefs that you like really can identify that is so different, so transformed from before to now, when you've allowed yourself to walk on this journey?
Well, for me, definitely it is self-love. I actually have this little mirror right here that my partner gave me a while back because I was always borrowing his. I was not able to look in my eyes in the mirror and say, I love you for a really, really long time. And it sometimes brought me like this anger even, or this, who are you talking to? Or this, so I was so disconnected, I want to say, and to kind of learn that, oh, it's all part of me and I love every part of me. And, or can I bring myself to love every part of me, even if I messed up, or if I was a bitch here, or did this or that, and to, oh, yes, and just to be fully me again, but to be able to love me. I think, yeah, and the awareness around it, because before I wasn't aware, and to building that awareness, and then to stop myself when I am doing some harm, or I know I'm thinking again, oh, you're so dumb, Isabella. Oh, that's the old belief from the little Isabella from kindergarten. So I no longer have to believe that right now.
Mine was, I was the class clown all the way through because I didn't believe people could love me and care for me and be my friend unless I was funny. I had to be this persona of someone that I thought people would love and want to hang out with. It took me many years before I went, oh yeah, when I'm not funny, they actually still like me. And it's a habit. I try to be funny. It's so ingrained in me. I try to make light of things. It's like, I think I'm funny. But yeah, it was just a part of me that I didn't need their approval, or maybe, no, I did. I needed their approval. So I did what it took to get their approval. And I gave away part of me to seek their approval. And yes, I enjoy being funny and that, but there's more depth to Neil, and I didn't allow the depth to come out.
I can totally relate to the funny part, because I am also very funny.
Well, at least we think so, right?
And I'm loving it.
Absolutely.
I'm just leaning in for a sec. You know, there's so much transformation that happens even in these beautiful conversations. And we can see how each of us taps into those places in ourselves that we can recognize the changes that come when we allow our beliefs to be altered, and we allow ourselves to be enhanced by the newness of us. What is the favorite thing about your life now? What is your favorite thing about your life now in the work that you do?
for me, it's definitely a loving community. That it's like so sometimes lonely when you discover something and you share it with your family or a friend and they don't get you. And I'm like, but, and this, and then I feel again, then I can notice how my little Isabella would like to go back inside and just be sad. And now I have built this beautiful community around me that totally gets me, and where I can share and build on my skills and expand the work that I want to do for children, and just to have this. And I mean, what Dr. Yugandhar is doing here, you know, to be united, to have this spiritual community, and no matter, and even if we can only meet over video calls, there can be such a connection built that I would have never thought was, you know, possible. So definitely community.
Community and the allowing myself to be vulnerable, to experience the yin and the yang in me. I wasn't a fighter, but I was just, you just go and get it done, period. And it was simple as that. But allow the moments to be there, the soft, tender moments, to just have a cat or a pet come up and just snuggle with you and be so caught up in that moment that it's tearful. To be caught up, to actually go with my wife to a chick flick and be the only one crying in the dang movie theater. Because there I'm like this, to be so vulnerable and to allow myself to experience that. And in the next minute, be able to go onto the martial art mats and fight like crazy from a place of let's get this done.
Wonderful.
Beautiful. Full self-expression, I would say.
Yeah. Such a, you know, great juxtaposition in that, because when we connect into our community, we're so much more able to do that when we're in full expression of ourselves. And yet at the same time, our community is often the place that allows us to come into the full expression of ourselves. There's this constant reciprocity of connection and enhancement within this space of, you know, approaching life from a perspective of the different types of love that Neil was referring to in the beginning of his conversation.
Yeah. So many people only associate love and sex or love to their children and family, but there's so many other layers to it. And I believe life is a journey to uncover all of those layers and experience all of those layers.
Yeah. Is there anything that either one of you, you know, would like to share just as we close up our panel conversation? You know, just anything more that you would like to share with everybody, and, you know, allow them to be enhanced by the vibration of who you are in this world, in this place of peace and love consciousness that you're creating.
Well, I just really want to thank you, Lori, for creating such a beautiful space for us to just be ourselves and share from our heart, and just to be here and meet again so many new people and expand, and just to feel, wow, we are not alone in this. We can all be united, even in a place of chaos as it is right now all over the world. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lori, for holding such a beautiful space. Thank you to Dr. Yugandhar for creating this beautiful platform. Thank you to the people in the Third World Parliament of Spirituality. This has been wonderful, and I thank you. And I just want to leave. dream big, dream passionately, and share your dreams with the world. You are worthy, because according to the Gospel of Thomas, you are the piece of the puzzle that I am missing.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. We're going to move on to the next session of speakers. Thank you all for joining us and for continuing to connect in to the world united.
Isabella, are you on Facebook?
I am.
Okay, I'm going to go find you.
And I'm going to be all real me.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome. The connections are already happening.